You're tuned into Life is a Sacred Journey. Every week, we bring a new perspective to aging and caregiving. Here is your host, Micheal Pope.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. Go get your cup of coffee, get your water, get your orange juice, get your tea. Whatever libation you need. If you're on vacation, have a mimosa on me. And sit down, and we're going to have a wonderful conversation with my new BFF who has joined. We almost forgot that you guys were supposed to join us because we were talking offline. So welcome. It's so good to see all of you. It's always good to show up on Friday mornings. I want to tell you a little thing. Nadia joined me this morning, and one of the things that I was thinking about in preparation for, and I've shared this with her, all of you who come to Life is a Sacred Journey know that this is a platform that began where we were talking about caregivers and helping caregivers and motivating caregivers. It has expanded. That still is our base knowledge. That is what we're always going to do, is promote caregivers. But understand this, we are all caregivers. That's the one epiphany over the last 4 years that I've had, is that we're all caregivers. We're caregivers of each other. We're caregivers of people that we love and adore, but we're also caregivers of the stranger. How we show up, my people, how we show up in the world with each other is, you're wondering why there's violence. You're wondering why we bump into each other and crash with hatred, bias, and despair, because it starts with us. So this is a breath of fresh air every Friday morning for me at 8 a.m. I hope it is for you, to find that joy, to find that thing in your heart that gets you to understand that you are a part of a greater humanity, and how you show up matters. And it's not the beauty in my outfit, which I hope you do like, but at the end of the day, that ain't it. It is how we show up with our spirit and our heart. Mm-hmm. And when we love ourselves, guess what? We have no choice but to show up as perfection. So today I am honored. Nadia Kashouh.
Yes.
Did I pronounce it properly?
You did.
All right.
Spot on.
All right. Is a wonderful breath of fresh air that I am so excited that we are able to ask her to join the Life is a Sacred Journey family. She is coming to us this morning to share her story, to share her journey, and then hopefully to motivate you, because you know the days are getting longer, peeps. You can go for a walk in the morning, you can go for a walk in the afternoon, but there's some work in between that has to take place, so that you can be your best self, be the change you want to be. So let's say good morning and welcome my dear new BFF, my new BFF, Nadia Kashouh.
Awesome. Micheal, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
There you go. It's so good to meet you. It's so good to share this moment, this second in our life journey with you. So I know everybody, and I ask this always of everybody, and it may sound old, but you know what? What is your story? What is your story?
Absolutely. First and foremost, just thank you, Micheal, right? And for everyone that's tuning in, listen, time is something that we can never, ever get back. So I just appreciate you sharing this platform with me. And for those that are tuning in, allowing Micheal and myself to hold space for you. Thank you. Thank you so much. My story is awesome. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It had some stinky parts. So I'll take you back about 8 years ago, right? When I started to really become intentional with my wellness, because I was realizing that I was going nowhere, right? And going there extremely quickly, right? I recognized that, you know, I wanted to feel better. I wanted to know what purpose was, right? I wanted more energy. I wanted to feel more confident. However, Micheal, I wasn't willing to make the change, right? I was trying to get different results, but while staying the same. And so I know many of us can relate, right? At that time, very vividly, I remember, working my 9 to 5 and bartending at night. So feeling like I had more work than the hours in the day. You know what I mean? Yes. And putting on so many hats, right? Whether it's auntie or, daughter or coworker, whatever it was, but I wasn't putting on the hat, just like you started us off with, to take care of myself. Okay. And so here's what I did. And I recognized that life didn't change, right? I still had those 18-hour days. I still had the same amount of income coming in. I still had the same responsibilities. But what I did was I took inventory, right? I took inventory of what was happening in my life. Who was I spending time with? Where was I spending my money? What kind of habits did I have? And what was I willing to let go? See, sacrifice has to be made for us to get where we want to go, right? We cannot remain the same. We can't be in a convenient state, but have that conviction and want to change. It can't happen. All right. So what I did was I cut out going out to eat, right? I sacrificed time with the girls, simple things. I know you those that are listening can feel me on this. I cut down going out to eat. I cut down getting the hair done, the nail, like simple things like that. And I reached out for coaching. Okay. And I also made sure that I transplanted myself with like-minded people. All right. So that was about 8 years ago. And I decided that this was my race, that this was my pace, that this was my journey. Okay. And so while everything in my life felt like it was spinning out of control, I knew this. I knew that I had the ability, literally and figuratively, to put one foot in front of the other, which is why I felt the lead towards, just really focusing in on my wellness. Right. And so what happened was, I remember it like it was yesterday, my first workout. I didn't look like what I saw on social media. I was struggling. I was in the big room in a gym, if any one of you guys are familiar with it. And I just bawled my eyes out. I mean, I felt defeated. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and so what happened was that night I went home. Okay. And for me, one thing I know you and me and you, Micheal, talked about at the beginning of our conversation was faith, family, friends, right? So for me, my faith hugged me so close. And I recognize that in my weakness, there's still strength, right? And so that's where the mindset shift happened. It wasn't about how my physical appearance looked. I recognized that I needed this journey, that I needed this struggle, that I had to yield to the process. Here's why: to become the person who could sustain the outcome, right? I needed, let's say that again. Let's run that back.
Yeah, please say that again.
I needed the process. I needed the struggle. I had to yield to the journey because I had to become the person to sustain the outcome. All right. For those that are listening underneath the sound of my voice, I want you to think of a goal that you have, whether it's a quote unquote dream body, it's a quote unquote dream house, it's a quote unquote dream job. If we snapped our fingers right now and gave it to you, you wouldn't have the know-how. You wouldn't know the sacrifice. You would not have created and cultivated that habits, right, to sustain that. Because it takes one version of us to get in the door, but it takes another version of us to keep the door open, to sustain that door. So with that being said, that's what I did. Okay. And I just yielded to the process. It's ups and downs. I found beauty in it all. Okay. And then I started to see myself transform from the inside out. So that's a little peek into the start of my life.
And Nadia, oh my gosh, what you just said though about, you looked inside. I always say, be the change. I know I didn't make that up. It's I don't make that much. Be the change that we want to see, or be the change you want to see. What you just said there is, though, you have to start within, and that inward place, though, sometimes we don't like that place, Nadia. Talk a little bit. We don't like it. It's uncomfortable.
Right. And you know why, Micheal? It's uncomfortable because many times popular culture, and even within our own culture, it's not demonstrated, right? So we just don't know. It's the unknown. It's the fear of it, right? Because I'm taught that I'm supposed to look a certain way. I'm supposed to think a certain way. I'm supposed to have certain degrees and certain accolades. And so we automatically bind our self-worth with outward appearances, achievements, and so on and so forth. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so it's scary. It's really scary when you're like, hold on, I have to sit with this negative thoughts, this stinking thinking. I have to sit with, emotions that I just wasn't taught on how to deal with. And so I think that's why many times we run away from it. But if you're hearing this message, you're drawn to it for a reason. Let this be your reminder that there is nothing that you can't do, right? Like, you have the grace. All you have to do, I say this all the time because I said it to myself, that a determined mind with discipline and direction is unstoppable. What do I mean by that? At the beginning, let me repeat that one more time though. A determined mind with discipline and direction is unstoppable. Here's what I mean. At the beginning of my journey, I was partying until 3 a.m. in the morning. I was drinking probably every other weekend, right? I was eating processed foods, but I found a way. And I always used to say, well, Nadia, you can't be intentional with your wellness because it's too expensive, or you don't have time, but I had the energy, I had the time, and I had the means for these other habits that weren't getting me to where I wanted to go. All right. So I was determined, I was disciplined, I had direction, but I was just executing it in the wrong way, in the wrong realm of things. And so once I had that mindset shift, right, the same thing. Here's another thing, Micheal. We can have pain of progress, or we can have pain of regret. Either way, pain is required. We can have pain of progress, okay, or we can have pain of regret. Either way, pain is required. Why not put that pain to work for you with forward movement? Because here's what. Let's quickly close our eyes. I get so excited talking about this because I love you all. I'm excited for connection. Close your eyes and think of one person that you love. That first person that you love right now. All right. If you were the only example of what true wellness looked like to them, right? Am I leading them towards generational health, towards generational love, towards generational forgiveness? Or am I leading them towards generational dis-ease, towards generational stress, right? Towards generational emotionally not knowing how to communicate? So now open our eyes. It becomes bigger than us. It is our responsibility to be shoulders for those that are connected to us to catapult and do better and be better, right? Just because we didn't know how to deal with our emotions doesn't give us the excuse to remain ignorant.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I just ate my oatmeal. It's going to stick to your ribs. It's going to stick to the core of your belly.
Yes.
This is important stuff. Oh my gosh. Pain of progress, oh man, you got it. Okay. So Nadia, when you went on this journey, you looked at yourself first. You weren't looking outside saying those people, them and those. This is about me. This is about my change. And when that moment happened, where that change, that moment, because we all have that moment where we realize we have changed and that, and there's like a birthday party happening inside of us. Speak about that moment, because I know you've had it.
Yes. I mean, man, oh man, it is so liberating and it's so freeing, right? And it just allows you to become, you're just shedding, right? You feel lighter because you're giving yourself permission to be you for the first time, right? And it's exciting. It's so exciting. Another thing too, I say this all the time, that if we allow the praises of others to feed us, then we will allow the critiques.
I need this woman in my life, Lord. Thank you.
Let's say that again. If we allow the praises of others to feed us, then we will allow their critiques to starve us. And so it's so important that we dig deep, that we get rooted in a conviction and a belief that is within, that is unseen, because that's what helps us to get into action, to keep putting that one foot in front of the other, to know that, yes, life is going to throw you stuff. Yeah, you're not always going to wake up and feel like, oh my gosh, butterfly, peaches and roses. It's not, right? But when you have that vision, when you have that sense of clarity, and then you're anchored from within, right? It's so freeing, Micheal. It really is.
It really is.
That's not like a sexy word, but it's freeing for sure.
And I love it because I'm smiling and I'm laughing, not laughing. I'm chuckling with joy, only because that I've shared with this platform, the freeing that I'm not here for you to be like me. I'm not here for you to even think that you want to be me. I'm here because I'm sharing with you, just like Nadia just did, that when you allow yourself to be who you were created to be and not all that noise that everybody told you, oh, Micheal, you're so smart. Oh, Micheal, you're this. Oh, Micheal, you're that. And it was, I'm all those things, but I don't know who I am.
Right.
I'm those things for you. So who am I for me? And that's what Nadia just showed you. And then when that happens, there was a day, and this is not a conceited thing, Nadia, this happened to me. I started fasting first because I had to get all the processed foods out of my body. I told you about the sciatic moment, and they wanted to give me medications and do surgeries. And I was like, no. This is my body saying, you're moving into a new season. You can't be who you were last season. You're going to have to do something different. And it was like, okay, I can't run anymore. Okay, that's okay. Let's figure out, oh, we can stretch. Oh, we can we can do all kinds of things. But you said this in the beginning. You stop eating processed foods. And this is something that I have said to our audience. I believe the chemicals in processed food, and again, I think there's research on this. I've read some research on this. It clouds, it creates the plaques and tangles and the inflammations. And from your research, and then we're going to talk about the Kash method. What have you learned about that, and why that is something that you no longer bring into your sphere of health?
Absolutely. That's such a great question and observation for sure. One of the things I say is our body speaks. It truly does. We just have to learn its language and sit still to listen, right? And I'm going to give this information in bite-sized, high-level overview so that we're all understanding of it. When you're looking at food, right? Let's say we're in the market, okay? You pick up a package and the front of the package is like, I don't know, organic, vegan, plant-based, all the fancy schmancy names. However, when we flip that bad boy over and look at the ingredients, there's words in there that you don't even know how to pronounce, let alone what they mean and what they're for, right? That's number one. That should be a red flag. I have a 6-year-old niece, and I've taught her that when she picks up something, if auntie cannot explain what's on the back or you cannot read it, it's not food. That's a harsh reality, maybe for some of us at, whatever age to recognize, but it is. Here's one thing I want to say. If you don't know what it is, if your mind can't understand what it is, what do you think your body's doing? Right? How do you think your body is processing that? And so what happens is we're not eliminating, right? Our colon health goes down. We're not eliminating the way we should. We're not having the freaking bowel movements the way we should. That toxins and that mucus and that waste has to settle somewhere, right? And so when our body is building up with inflammation, of course, it's going to affect our energy. It's going to affect our mental clarity. It's going to affect our thought process. And as the inflammation settles consistently in a certain place over time, what happens? Dis-ease of the body, right? Yeah. And so I believe that we serve a God that knows it all, and that he created our body so amazingly that, like you said, right? Like, you knew, okay, I had to pull back, hold on, like I'm going into a new season. I have to become the person, our bodies have the ability to heal them itself, but we have to walk in that. Miracles in the movement. We can't expect to keep doing the same thing, but expect differently. So that's really why I started to eliminate that process, and to recognizing, certain traits or certain diseases or certain ailments that were in my family line that I recognize it's not because it's habits, it's habitual, and that it can be preventative. Right. And I also wanted to be the change. I wanted to be the light for my parents. I want to be the light for my siblings, be the light for my niece. Right. And it's happening. It's happening. So it's amazing.
Isn't it amazing when I remember when I first became a vegetarian, when I decided that meat was no longer, I didn't want anything with parents that walked on 2 legs or 4. And I realized that my family made fun of me, particularly the older members. They're like, "Are you eating that?" Until they started eating it when I was cooking it. And because they thought of, tofu, no flavor, and they were thinking of all. And this is the thing I want to say. You don't have to become a vegetarian. That's not what I'm saying to you. It worked for me. My body needed me not to eat processed foods, fatty meats, all of that. My body just reacted so happily to that. Water is another thing. Living water. I call it living water because water is supposed to move, peeps. Okay? That's why when you have a water bottle, can you hand me that water bottle, please? When you have a water bottle, when you walk around with it in your hand, shake the water up.
Right.
See what happens to the water? It's moving. And that's what it then, and it becomes alive, and the molecules in it get in your body. If it sits stagnant, what are you doing? You're drinking stagnant water. And so guess what it does? Just comes right on out.
Right.
You want water that has oxygen in it, so that you begin to feel that when you drink it. Little things. These are all things that we don't know until we do our homework. I'm a reader, and I'm not telling you all to be readers. You can get all this stuff on audiobook, but read as much as you can, listen to as much as you can, eat the meat, throw away the bones, do what works for you, and you will find, and keep a journal. I believe in this. I have a health journal.
Yes.
And I keep stuff in it. One, so I can talk to the doctor. So the doctor is not the captain of this ship.
Right.
Okay, co-captain, first mate maybe, but not the captain. I'm the captain because I have the information. So I go in and say, this is what I started to do. These are the vitamins I'm taking. These are the herbals, because I go to a herbalist. I've told you all this. All these things, right? And then we have a conversation. It's not her or he having a conversation with me about me. You don't know me.
Right.
Here.
Right.
You live with you 364 days out of the year. I know there's 365. Don't get it twisted. I'm giving the doctor that day. Okay. So if you are with you 364, what can that doctor possibly tell you in one day? And they're not even with you in the day. They're only with you for 45 minutes, if that. Nadia, tell us about the Kash method.
Absolutely. Kash method. So it's my baby. Clearly it's a play on my last name because it is my method. It's about my journey. It's the techniques that I use. And in this platform, I really focus on coaching high achieving women that are just ready to put their excuses aside and execute, right? To ditch the diet mindset, embrace their curves and their beauty, and know that they're all right in this moment. I don't care if your goal is to release. And I say release intentionally, right? I don't care if your goal is to release 20 pounds, gain that 20 pounds, whatever it is, just know that you're worth it. You're able and you're capable right in this moment, right? So we ditch the diet mindset. We rock our curves like it's nobody's business, and embrace our curves and confidence, right? And so on this, I coach the collective women because I do believe that there's something when we're able to connect and foster a safe community and hear one another's testimonies, right? Like, I'm sure there's someone out there that was listening to my story, listening to certain things that Micheal was saying, and was like, I can relate. And it gives you hope because you're able to see the other side, right? And so that's what I do. We focus on moving our bodies from a joyful place, making small, sustainable changes, right? That consistently over time create the great transformation that you see. Because here's the thing. If we go from 0 to 100, that's not sustainable. I can't go from 0 to 100 on a daily basis, but I can go from 0 to 1, right? I can go from 1 to 2. So I really help women to strip it down, build a solid foundation, all right? And then support them so that they're making this journey lifelong. And then we really focus on unlearning. That's one of my favorite things to say, unlearn to relearn. unlearn everything that we were taught from pop culture, from main culture, from our families, unlearn the judgment, unlearn the self-sabotage, all that. It takes time. We work through that. You're supported through that. And then you relearn what it means to decide to say yes to you, because just like Micheal said, you are the CEO of your health legacy. You're creating a legacy, whether you like it or not, right? You decide, you get anchored in something that is bigger than you, and we commit to the process. So in the Kash method, I teach my amazing, powerful, world-changing women on how to walk in their different kind of strong. And that comes from a conviction and a belief, like we talked about, that's within, that's unshakable. It's not determined on the car, the house, the degrees, your performance, your body type, nothing. It's determined on that conviction that you have from within. So we walk in our different kind of strong. We train the mind. It starts here. Our body follows. And that is the Kash method in a nutshell.
Wow. How do folks from our community get in contact with you, become engaged maybe?
Yeah.
And is it online? Can they?
It is online.
Okay.
It is online. So one of two ways. Number one, or one of three ways rather. Number one, you can text TRAIN. Just text TRAIN, TRAIN to 401-341-1402. That is my cell phone. You'll be added into the crew. We'll go on from there. Okay. You'll also get a free movement class with me by texting that. You can also go to thekashmethod.com. All right. And then lastly, you can feel free to email me at hello@thekashmethod.com. So one of three ways, whichever way works the best for you. And then we'll go from there.
And Felicia will take all of that information and make sure that that gets bannered across for all of you. If you didn't have your pencil and paper, remember, you're supposed to bring your pencil and paper.
Right.
But that's okay. That's okay. Because the good news about this online stuff, I look back at something that I did a couple of years ago. I was like, whoa, girlfriend, what was you thinking that hairdo? But you know what? So it's in there forever, you guys. But you can go back. And this is the one thing, Nadia, I would love for you to speak to is, I apologize, family. I thought I turned that off. My apologies. Joy.
Yes.
I said to you when I first looked at you and saw you this morning, the joy of one connecting with you myself. I've already connected with you in social media and all of that. Not 100%, but just a little snip, just looking. And the joy that you had when we saw each other just went ping, ping, ping. I'm a Care Bear lover. Ping, 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 ping. And you sent that out to me. How important is inner joy to the journey, or was it for you in the journey?
Extremely important. It's so important because someone can be dealt the same hand that I have and win with it. And I say that to say, every time I look at an obstacle, I have to recognize that there's always opportunity there. It's not happening to me, it's happening for me. Where's the learning lesson? And once I was able to adapt that mindset, I was able to go through even the most trying times, and even still with a sense of peace and joy, right? It's and again, being anchored. So it's so important. And I tell my clients again, right? Because also too, another reason why you saw like there's that joy radiating, because the connection. I know that I need community. I know that I don't know it all. I know that, yes, I'm supposed to reach up for help and reach back to help, right? And so connecting and recognizing that I don't have to know it all, getting the burden of perfection off my back and recognizing that this is a progressive journey, that I'm simply just trying to do better than what I was doing yesterday. And also knowing that each one of us, and it's not my own quote, it's from a song that I like, but this woman says, Emily, she sings and says that we have the voice to change the nation, but we're biting our tongue, meaning that we have an assignment, right? We have a calling over us. And if we don't step into that, if we don't start taking care of ourselves, if we don't say yes to health legacy, if we don't do the hard work, that those that are connected to me, my voice, my message, my mission will miss it. They won't know how to step in and walk on their shoes because I didn't fulfill mine. And so I have to think of that, right? All that purpose, all that big vision, big why, to make sure that even in my darkest moments, I have to learn how to encourage myself. Because guess what? I'm not always going to have Micheal in my back pocket, right? I'm not always going to have your go-to. You have to create, and it's a muscle, Micheal. We have to be intentional with everything and make sure that we're developing that muscle of discipline, that muscle of grit, that muscle of celebrating ourselves, muscle of forgiving ourselves, muscle of enjoying ourselves, right? So yes, it's so important. And joy is a high vibration. We got to stay high because we're not low people, right? We're more than enough. We're more than conquerors.
Oh my gosh. And the thing is, siblings, family members of Life is a Sacred Journey, and you, Nadia, you know, you get to a place in your life if you've experienced death and dying or illness where you thought that the next day would not be yours. I thought about this yesterday, Nadia. I'm having a birthday coming up. It's a major birthday. It's a major time in my existence, and I'm excited about it. But I also started thinking, because I'm taking this class, and they asked me to look 50 years into the future. A lot of the people around me could do that easily because they're in their 20s or whatever. So that was not a big shock for them.
Right.
For me, I started thinking, oh my goodness, that would mean I'm going to be 114 years old. And I thought, first, you know, that yuckiness, well, you can't think that far into the future. And then I started thinking, well, why the heck not?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then started getting into the fire of, you know what? I can have a goal for 104. You damn Skippy, I can. And so can you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
The first thing that happened to me, even though I've done my work and I'm being as positive as I can, that negative went in there and said, well, you're going to be dead 50 years from now. You don't need to have a goal. I was like, who is that?
Right.
Fifi LaRue, I named her. Her name is Fifi LaRue. Fifi LaRue came in and started being all negative in my space. I had to lock the door on her.
I know that's right.
That's what Nadia is talking about, Sylvia.
Yes. And
right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, because it shows you that the work is ongoing, my friends. Like, we don't arrive to destination fit, destination whole, destination healed, destination all positivity. It's ongoing, right? And it's how we handle every day. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Well, no, and I want folks, give them the information again, because one, you guys, listen, there are some of us that are creative that can go buy a video. I got lots of them at my house. I got lots of the videos at my house, okay?
Yeah.
I ain't watched none of them.
Right.
They're still in the little packet, okay? I ain't watched them. You know I don't watch television, so if there's something on television that's happening around this, I would never know, because I don't take television in. For those of you that watch it, that's okay. I've chosen not to watch it, okay? So, but Nadia is doing this online, so she can text you, she can get you engaged and involved, and you might see me there. Come on now, join me. Nadia, give them the information.
Absolutely. So you can text TRAIN to 401-341-1402. They'll gift you a free session, a free chance to move with me. Okay. You can also find me at thecashmethod.com. And lastly, you can email hello@thecashmethod.com. Let me know where you're coming from, and then we will connect for sure. I will say one of the favorites out of the group that I'm coaching is what I do is called Cash Connect. So weekly, we have accountability, right? And we just meet up just like this in this space. So I don't care where you are in the world. That's the beauty of the internet right now. And we share our wins. It's so important that we lead with celebrating ourselves, right? So that we're practicing to give ourselves more grace. And I say, where are my coaching opportunities, right? Where can I start to attract the strength that's already in you? Maybe we're just missing it a little bit. So it helps you to have that accountability and structure to set yourself up for success of the progressive journey on a weekly basis. So that's really a favorite amongst the group.
And you know, Nadia, in everything, to change habits, you have to be consistent, but you must have an accountability partner.
Absolutely.
Or someone that can hold you accountable. I'm blessed
Absolutely.
to have many, including my daughter, who always reminds me to wear lipstick, by the way. That's her accountability. She's like, you look better with it. You should just put it on. Okay. But also to lift us up and fluff us up like a pillow when we're feeling a little flattened out by the day, the moment, and the space. And so the Kash method is not just, it's mind, body, and spirit. It's creating a wisdom circle of women of all ages, from what I can tell, who support each other, living in their Sankofa where they're moving forward, but always looking back to see what they can do. And Nadia is the shepherd of that. Not trying to, she's learning too from the one place that I saw. She's constantly saying that I'm learning. So before we close, Nadia, would you give our audience your last aha, what your last aha is, so that they can take that and maybe have an aha moment down the road before they text you?
Yes, absolutely. So what's coming to mind right now, right as you speak, Micheal, is I'm going to remind us all that there's a statistic that says when someone commits to their wellness or creates a health goal, that within the first 3 weeks, 73% of those people quit. Within the first 3 weeks, 73% of those people who initiated the goal quit. Here's what I want to leave you with, that you are not going to be that person, right? Because if you think of your son, your daughter, your niece, whomever, and came to you and said, I want to try baseball, I want to try soccer. And then within the first 3 weeks, they told you, or you saw that they weren't progressing in that journey, that they maybe weren't the best on the team. Would you say, that's it, son and daughter, get out of here, right? Like, never try this sport again. You suck, go on to something else. You would not. I promise you wouldn't. So don't you dare do that to yourself. I want you right now to give yourself permission to become. Give yourself permission to start. Give yourself permission to suck. That's okay, because you're going to get better. I always tell my clients, especially as we're working, getting better, getting stronger, getting better, getting stronger. Sit in that commitment and consistency. It's not beautiful. It doesn't belong on the runway. It doesn't belong, in a glamorous photo shoot. I just want you to think of your why, get bigger, get outside of yourself. What's your why? Because remember, if nothing changes, then nothing will change. Remember your why, get anchored, decide. And if you feel called to allow me to get alongside of you, to witness your beautiful testimony unfold, I'll be more than happy to coach excellence that's already in you, my friend. It's already there. The journey just pulls it out.
Yes. Wow. Nadia Kashouh. I am honored and blessed to be a member now of your life. I hope that I have treaded gently with you and left a space where we can re-enter into a bigger and more, just a bigger relationship, whatever the universe has in store for us. I want you, siblings of Life is a Sacred Journey, to be the best you can be. That's what Nadia has been talking about. That's what every guest, that's what all my ponderings about, because this is the deal. Nadia and I just talked about this. If we all came out of our houses tomorrow morning with self-love and love for the humanity, love for the earth, there would be no war in Russia. There would be no homeless people. There would be no one going hungry. There would be no child that wasn't being parented by somebody. There would be no elder that felt like they're not being heard and invisible. There would not be somebody out there trying to commit suicide. As you know, that's my biggest platform. That's my biggest space, Nadia. I always end the show by saying this. If you are out there in the world feeling like you are the worst of the worst, right? God doesn't love you. People don't care about you, all that. I'm sorry that the world made you feel that way. But let me tell you something. Your life is important. Please do not take your life. Call the National Suicide Hotline. Felicia will put it in there. Grab somebody's phone and say, this is a life or death. Please let me call them, or let them call them for you. Because in the next moment, after you could take your life, the world will have changed forever. And you will have never known the impact that your life could have had on me and on everybody else. And more importantly, the shine that you would have captured if you had just waited a little bit longer. Not telling you that it's easy. Nadia just told you her story. It ain't easy. And my story, 64 years old I am, about to be 65. It wasn't easy getting here, and it still ain't easy. But when you surround yourself with people who get it, when you surround yourself with people who love you, you will be able to make it.
Yes.
I promise you that. I promise you that. So please, little people, middle people, older people, suicide's not the answer, because we need you. We need you. You're the person that we really need. And that's not to put a burden on you, but that's just to let you know you're needed. And the world will not be better, and your family will not be better if you're gone. So Nadia Kashouh and I say to you all in the Life is a Sacred Journey family, circle, universe, you matter. You're the best that you can be. You were marvelously made.
Yes.
And so don't let nobody shake that. Don't let anybody take your blessings. And don't let anybody block your joy. Because guess what? They do not have the right. All right? So go out, hug a tree, pet a cat, pet a dog, hug yourself, hug somebody else, look in the mirror and say, hey, it's my day. And you will feel better. I promise you. All right, people. Nadia, stay on for 1 minute. All right, my family. I love you. Have a great weekend. In California, it's supposed to be sunny and bright. Go somewhere. Don't stay in the house. Don't do those chores this weekend. Go outside. Get some fresh air. Meet a stranger with a smile. Meet somebody who you might be afraid of right now because of the biases and things that you've been taught. And smile at them and possibly just say, hey, how you doing? You don't have to go any further. Just be a human. All right, you guys. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Peace.